I am Tashon Tyson, in with you over in the news package for today, Wednesday, 11th September 2019. In our lead stories, nationally, Ministry of Health collaborates with the Navy Solid Waste Management Corporation in the fight against dengue fever. And Navy Solid Waste Management collaborates with the Environmental Health Department. Regionally, no quarantine cholera in the Bahamas post-Hurricane Dorian. Internationally, U.S. President takes tough stance against evacuees from hurricane-hit Bahamas. And in sports, SKN Patriots beat the Jamaica Tallowers by 4 wickets in CPL match. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. The Ministry of Health and Nevis has collaborated with the Nevis Solid Waste Management and the Environmental Health Unit in the prevention of any outbreaks of dengue fever on the island through the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Junior Minister of Health, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, stated in an announcement that the movement is in response to the Pan American Health Organization's PAHO's warning in August 2019 that countries in Latin America and the Caribbean should prepare for possible outbreaks for dengue fever. The Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams announced that the month of September is designated as Amnesty Month for the cleanup initiative the Nevis Solid Waste Management will be spearheading on island throughout the Keep Nevis Clean campaign on September 9, 2019. Disclosed during an interview the VON Newsline held in August with the General Manager of the Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority, Mr. Andrew Hendrickson. The public will have provisions made for garbage disposal in September. During the announcement with Junior Minister Brandy Williams, Mr. Hendrickson explained that any household or any commercial entity which has an accumulation of white goods, tires, all galvanized, anything that can catch and retain water, which facilitates the breeding of mosquitoes, we are accepting it free of charge when they bring it to the landfill. We will not be accepting wood and grass and construction debris because we are interested in anything that will catch water and retain it, facilitating the breeding of these mosquitoes. In related news,
happy to say that the Navy Solid Waste Management Authority, in collaboration with the Environmental Health Department, we shall be launching an island-wide initiative of distributing roll-off bins throughout the island in strategic locations so that the villagers, the various communities can come together, get them loaded.
That was General Manager of the Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority, Mr. Andrew Hendrickson. During the announcement with Junior Minister of Health, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, Mr. Hendrickson indicated that Solid Waste has temporarily suspended its bin rental service for the month of September to facilitate the Environmental Health Unit supervision of bin loading process. Environmental Health Officers Mr. Patrick Newton and Ms. Risa Paul, who were in attendance, stated that garbage bins would be placed in strategic areas in various communities, facilitating the proper disposal of waste. From September 9th to the 11th, the bins have been placed in Lower and Upper Bath Village, in the section of Stuart Williams Drive and Government Road in the vicinity of Club Trinum, Lower Stony Grove, Park Range, Cuddock Road in the vicinity of Big Rock, opposite of the Myers family home, and at Ramsbury in an open lot above the Charlestown Primary School. More bins are scheduled to be placed around the island from Thursday, September 12th to Saturday, September 14th. On September 9, 2019, Minister of Community Development, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, led the retraining of the Four Seasons workers for the reopening of Four Seasons on October 1st, 2019. Mr. Evelyn was invited unofficially by Four Seasons General Manager, Mr. Gonzalo Guelman Ross, to lead a training session labeled Level Up for managers employed at the resort. Mr. Guelman Ross explained that he invited Mr. Evelyn because, among other reasons, he is well known, extremely knowledgeable, and a close friend to the managers of the resort. Mr. Evelyn's aim is to inspire the managers ahead of the resort's reopening. He noted the extensive work being undertaken at the resort when he paid a visit last week and believes that once the work is completed, Nevis will have a first-class resort. The Four Seasons Resort closed temporarily from June 1st, 2019 to carry out major renovation work. Its closure affected 361 workers who are expected to return to work by September 16, 2019. Police are currently investigating an incident in which a young female was sexually assaulted in the Bastia area on September 6, 2019. The incident was reported at about 10:45 p.m. Preliminary reports indicate that a male assailant held the female at knife point, pulled her into an unoccupied building, and assaulted her. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. The police are making a special appeal to persons who might have any information regarding this incident to contact the Special Victims Unit, SVU, by dialing 465-2241, extension 4252. The SVU can also be reached via cell phone at 665-3091. You may also contact your nearest police station or call the crime hotline at 707 if you have any information that can lead to the apprehension of the perpetrator. Monday, September 23rd is the date in which Mr. Alcibiades David of California will appear at the Bastia Magistrate Court in St. Kitts. He was granted bail on May 14, 2019 after being charged for possession of controlled drugs, possession with intent to supply and importation of a controlled drug into the Federation. The offenses were committed on May 7, 2019 at the RLB International Airport. They were in relation to an investigation launched surrounding material suspected to be cannabis on a private aircraft. At the time, Mr. David's previous bail conditions were revoked and he was granted bail under new conditions. Therefore, the conditions are a cash bail of $300,000 to $600,000 with two sureties. Sometime on Tuesday, September 10, a TDC Trading and Development Company drinks depot truck collided with a tree in the Hard Times area here in Nevis. Reports reaching the VON Newsline indicated that the truck, which was filled with beverages at the time, was traveling down the road in the area of the Corn Mill Training Center, and apparently, because of the weight in the back of the truck, the driver was unable to stop. Consequently, he collided into a tree. The VON Newsline also visited the scene a few hours later and saw blood splattered on the trunk of the tree. Additionally, the extent of the damage is unclear. Attempts were made to contact the Human Resources Department of the TDC Home and Building Depot, Gingerland Police Station, and Bastia Police Station, but none of the above was able to provide details on the incident. Nonetheless, more details will be provided on this story as they become available. Representatives from the Ministry of Health, St. Kitts, are currently attending a workshop in influenza surveillance and pandemic preparedness and response from September 9 to 12, 2019 in Montego Bay, Jamaica. The goals of the workshop are to strengthen a country's preparedness, response and recovery from serious health outbreaks, and is organized by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. The training will aid countries in enhancing their surveillance, data collection, analysis, and proper dissemination of information on the influenza virus and other respiratory ailments. Attended by representatives from around the Caribbean region, attendees will undergo training in surveillance, pandemic preparedness and response, including coordination, logistics, administration, management of economic resources, and vaccine deployment. They will also be expected to prepare a pandemic preparedness plan, a weekly bulletin, monitor indicators for influenza surveillance, and draft a national action plan in order to develop or update the National Pandemic Influenza Preparedness Plan. Representing the Ministry of Health of St. Kitts and Nevis in Jamaica are Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws, Health Planner Sylvester Bell, and Epidemiologist Dr. Rafael Rosales. Health brings a freedom very few realize until they no longer have it. That was the theme for a special Thanksgiving service as sanitation workers across St. Kitts and Nevis were honored by the Apostolic Faith Mission at St. Johnston Avenue, St. Kitts, in light of the 17th Annual Sanitation Workers Appreciation Day. The service was held on Sunday, September 8th. 15 workers chosen by the supervisors were given special awards for their hard work and dedication to their respective departments and, by extension, the country. Reflecting on the theme for this year's celebration, Minister of Health, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, said that it is relevant and extremely important, especially as we celebrate the work of sanitation workers. The event, which is designed yearly to celebrate the work of the sanitation workers in the Federation, was hosted by Pastor Lincoln Hazel and his congregation. Prime Minister Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris expressed thanks and appreciation to Pastor Hazel for continuing this tradition of reaching out year after year. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Life can be more fulfilling when we take the time out to smell the roses. And that's why your friends and family at the Bank of Nevis are experts at picking the flowers that best describe you. Whether you're planning to treat yourself after a long work week or finally getting around to that closet update, you deserve all the special things that life has to offer. And the Bond Visa card is here to help you achieve it. With just a swipe, you can turn a last-minute lunch date with friends and family into something worth remembering, with memories that will last a lifetime. Pampering yourself just got a whole lot easier. And after all, you deserve every refreshing moment of it. The ability to make your travel arrangements at your own convenience, whether by sea or by air, now rests within the palm of your hand. With a single swipe, the Bond Visa card can put a world of difference between life and truly living. Whereas the only limit you may have is your own imagination. Apply today. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Welcome back, and now the regional news in detail. Despite health concerns in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, is assuring that no cholera or any other epidemics have been found in the Bahamas, and none of the islands are under quarantine. Abaco and Grand Bahama experienced severe flooding, with some communities left completely underwater after Hurricane Dorian battered the two islands last week. While floods can potentially increase the transmission of waterborne and communicable diseases, both PAHO and the Ministry of Health in the Bahamas say there have not been any detected cholera cases nor any increased number of infectious diseases. Still in regional news. The clock is ticking for Hurricane Dorian survivors in the Bahamas to receive humanitarian assistance, the top United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF official in the region said on Sunday. Children and their families who survived the hurricane have lost their homes, their livelihoods, their relatives, and have been left with little water or food, said Yusuf Abdel Jalil, UNICEF Deputy Regional Director for Latin America and the Caribbean. nearly 1.5 tons of life-saving supplies that will help provide safe water for over 9,500 children and families left reeling by Hurricane Dorian have arrived in Nassau, Bahamas. Bahamas' Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says the National Day of Mourning must be held to properly mourn those who died as a result of Hurricane Dorian. The count is now at 45. His announcement came during a visit to Grand Bahama, where he held a press briefing and was updated by all the relevant agencies on Grand Bahama as they continued the relief effort on the island, which was severely impacted by Category 5 Hurricane Dorian as it passed through Abaco and Grand Bahama on September 1st. The Prime Minister acknowledged nobody could have predicted exactly what kind of devastation Hurricane Dorian would have left behind once it passed over the islands. But what I can say is that the entire international community is with us. They have been assisting us from day one. They have made commitments that they will assist us in rebuilding our country. Out of Antigua. A 17-year-old boy is fighting for his life in the intensive care unit of the Mount St. John's Medical Center after he was severely beaten and robbed by a gang of muggers in Grays Farm. 268today.com said his distraught mother has been told that her son, disfigured by the attack, only has a 50% chance of survival due to bleeding on the brain. In addition to this life-threatening condition, Jahim Azu suffered multiple fractures to his facial bones and is hardly responsive. Azu was born in Dominica but moved to Antigua recently. According to reports, he was walking in the vicinity of Green Bay Primary School Thursday evening when 5 males attacked him and robbed him of a pair of Adidas slippers and his cellular phone. Azu reportedly resisted the attack, and the robbers escalated their violence. They reportedly beat the teenager to the ground and stomped him in the face repeatedly before fleeing. At least one eyewitness who went to the teen's aid spoke with police since the incident, a source confirmed. Another witness called the ambulance and waited until the boy was taken to hospital before going to his home to report what had happened. And finally, the growing intensity of weather systems is the new norm, and the way business is done in the Caribbean has to change, so says Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley. After touring parts of the Bahamas hit by Category 5 Hurricane Dorian last week, she made it clear the way business was done in Barbados and the Caribbean had to change as it related to preparing for such weather systems. She outlined government's plan of action going forward to boost Barbados' resilience. Topping the list of proposed changes is the way houses are built in Barbados. Prime Minister Mottley said that this would be done as part of the government's capital transformation project Roofs to Reefs. Meantime, Barbadians dug deep into their pockets to raise US $220,478.20 in a national telethon to raise funds for the Bahamas, which was severely impacted by Hurricane Dorian last week. A telethon is a televised fundraising event. Minister of Information, Broadcasting and Public Affairs, Senator Lucille Moore, urged Barbadians to continue donating as accounts at First Caribbean International Bank would be open until weekend. And that's it for the regional stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. Hurricane or not, Bahamians impacted by Hurricane Dorian will not be given any special treatment to enter the United States because President Donald Trump says there are bad people there, like gang members and drug dealers, and he has to ensure that they don't get in his country. He made his government's position clear while speaking to reporters outside the White House a week after the Category 5 Hurricane Dorian devastated the Bahamian islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama. Almost 5,000 residents have been evacuated from the hurricane-hit islands to New Providence, where more than 70% of the Bahamian population lives. Some Bahamians have been trying to get into the U.S. Recently, Several of them were ordered off a cruise vessel heading to Florida because they did not have a U.S. visa. A doctor accused of failing to verify consent before performing euthanasia on a dementia patient has been cleared of any wrongdoing by a Dutch court. Euthanasia is the practice of intentionally ending a life to relieve pain and suffering. The 74-year-old patient, who died in 2016, had expressed a wish to be euthanized, but also indicated that she wanted to determine the right time. It is the first such case since the country legalized euthanasia in 2002. Anna Hollingen reports.
There was a brief round of applause in the crowded courtroom as the judges ruled that the doctor had followed the correct legal and medical procedures by going ahead with a euthanasia request the patient had made before she became severely demented. According to the judges, it would have been impossible for the doctor to verify consent from the woman who, by the time she died, no longer understood what the word euthanasia meant. This was considered an important test case in establishing the limits of the existing euthanasia law in the Netherlands.
The body of Robert Mugabe has arrived back in Zimbabwe after a private flight from Singapore, where he died last week, aged 95. Mr. Mugabe was Zimbabwe's first leader after the country became independent in 1918. He held on to power for almost 4 decades before being ousted in a coup in 2017. He will be buried on Sunday after a state funeral on Saturday. However, his final resting place remains in doubt. A convoy of vehicles with R.G. Mugabe number plates were seen next to the runway. A crowd of people, some wearing the former president's image on T-shirts, awaited the arrival of the plane. Mr. Mugabe's wife was also on the flight, the ex-president's nephew, Leo Mugabe, said. Here's more in this BBC report.
This is how Zimbabweans mourn their dead, and this is how they're mourning Robert Mugabe. The beating drums on one side and the church choir on the other. Hundreds of people, mostly party supporters, in the red, green and yellow colors have gathered at Robert Mugabe International Airport to receive the body of the late leader. In the hot sun, they sing songs praising Robert Mugabe. He will be accompanied by his wife Grace, his family, as well as one of the vice presidents. His body is expected to lie in state over the next 2 days.
And finally, Rihanna's designer lingerie show was the talk of New York Fashion Week, but the A-list guests were banned from using their phones after Amazon Prime Video bagged the rights to stream it. Those watching the star-studded catwalk show at Brooklyn's Barclays Center were not allowed to post photos before Amazon streams it from 20th September. The event featured music stars like DJ Khaled, Halsey, Big Sean and Migos. Victoria's Secret had been criticized for a lack of diversity, whereas one hallmark of Rihanna's Savage X Fenty fall-winter underwear range is its inclusivity, with the star saying she wants to celebrate everybody. And that brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Hey Alexa, what's the buzz this summer?
The summer buzz is happening now with TDC Hire Purchase at the TDC Home and Building Depot St. Kitts and Nevis. Activate any hire purchase account through September 30th and receive 20% off, free delivery, free assembly, gift items, back to school and uniform vouchers. Be sure to ask about their 3-month 0% interest accounts. That's what's buzzing this summer with TDC Hire Purchase. See stores for details. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, so that's what's up. Thanks, Alexa.
You are welcome, EK. Anytime.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In CPL cricket, the action continued last evening, Tuesday, September 10th, at the Warner Park in St. Kitts, and featured the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots versus the Jamaica Tallawahs. The St. Kitts Nevis Patriots won the toss and chose to send the Jamaica Tallawahs to bat first. Eventually, the Jamaica Tallawahs got to a whopping 241 for 4 in their 20 overs. In the end, the Patriots beat the Tallawahs. The summarized scores were Jamaica Tallawahs 241 for 4 in 20 overs, Chris Gale 116, Chadwick Walton 73, Fabian Allen 2 for 30, Alzari Joseph 2 for 39. SKN Patriots 242 for 6 in 18.5 overs, Devon Thomas 71, Ewan Lewis 53, Laurie Evans 41, Fabian Allen 37 not out, Shamar Brooks 27, O'Shane Thomas 4 for 53, Andrew Russell 2 for 53. SKN Patriots won by 4 wickets. Man of the match, Evan Lewis. A match is currently underway at Warner Park in St. Kitts between the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots and the Barbados Tridents. 6-time NBA champion and Hornets owner Michael Jordan is pledging $1 million to organizations assisting with Hurricane Dorian relief efforts in the Bahamas. NBA.com says. Jordan said in a statement on Tuesday via Twitter through his spokeswoman Esty Portnoy that he's devastated at the destruction in the Bahamas, adding, "My heart goes out to everyone who is suffering and to those who have lost loved ones." Jordan, who also owns property and frequently visits the Bahamas, says as the recovery and relief efforts continue, he will be tracking the situation closely and working to identify non-profit agencies where the funds will have the most impact. Jordan added that the Bahamian people are strong and resilient, and I hope that my donation will be of help as they work to recover from this catastrophic storm. And finally, in football, Everton's Yerry Mina has been fined £10,000 and warned as to his future conduct after admitting breaching Football Association FA betting rules. Mina, 24, appeared in a TV advert for Colombian betting company Betjego. In mitigation, Everton said defender Mina's command of the English language is limited and that he did not understand the information on betting. The FA said the fine is appropriate and proportionate in the circumstances. Mina joined the Toffees from Barcelona in August 2018. The FA called the case unusual and recognized strong mitigation put forward by the player and his club, which significantly reduced Mina's culpability. A warning alone would be insufficient to reflect the seriousness of such a breach, given the integrity of the game is potentially threatened by breaches of the FA's betting rules, the FA Regulatory Commission said. And that's it for sports. The General Weather Report is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight will be fair to partly cloudy with a 30% or a low chance of showers. Winds are east at 9 to 19 kilometers per hour or 5 to 10 knots and becoming variable or calm at times. Seas are 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:58 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the Mid News package for today, Wednesday, 11 September 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Ministry of Health collaborates with the Nevis Solid Waste Management Corporation in the fight against dengue fever. And Minister of Community Development asked to lead retraining at Four Seasons. Regionally, no quarantine. Cholera in the Bahamas post Hurricane Dorian. Internationally, U.S. President takes tough stance against evacuees from hurricane-hit Bahamas. And in sports, SKN Patriots beat the Jamaica Tallawahs by 4 wickets in CPL match. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashin Tyson, wishing you a pleasant evening.